Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Ma Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Patit Pavan Gauranitai Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Dev Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Jaya Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manoabhishtam Stapitam Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutat Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamsha Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prithaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurati Se Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balbhadra Bhadrabhyam Jagannathaye Te Namah Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 14, verse 14. So we will recite the words. Munaya Vuchu Nripavarya Nibodhay Tad Yatte Vidyapayam Boha Ayushri Kirti Nam Tava Tata Vivardhanam Munaya Vuchu Nripavarya Nibodhay Tad Yatte Vidyapayam Boha Ayushri Balakirti Nam Tava Tata Vivardhanam Munaya Huchu Nipavarya Nibodhata Yatte Vigyapayam Boha Ayushri Balakirti Tava Tata Vivardhanam. Anybody would like to recite? Munaya Uchu Kripavarya Nibodhaita Yatte Vigyapayamaho Sri Balakirtina Tava Tata Vivardhanam Munaya Uchu Kripavarya Nibodhaita Vivardhanam Munaya Uchu Nipa Bodhya Nibodheta Yate Vidyapayam Bodho Ayushri Balakirti Nam Tava Tata Vivardhanam. Mataji's Munaya Uchu Nripavarya Nibodha Yate Vidyapayam Ayushri Balakirti Nam Tava Tata Vivardhanam. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we will now read the word to word meaning. Munaya Uchu. The great sages said, Nripavarya, O best of the kings, Nibodha, kindly try to understand. Etat, this, yat, which, te, to you, Vigyapayama, we shall instruct. Bhoha, O king, Ayu, duration of life. Sri, opulences. Bala, strength. Kirti, Naam. Good reputation. Tava, your, Tata, dear son, Vivardhanam, which will increase. Translation. The great sages said, Dear king, we have come to give you good advice. Kindly hear us with great attention. By doing so, your duration of life and your opulence, strength, and reputation will increase. Purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charnarvind, Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. According to Vedic civilization, in a monarchy, the king is advised by saintly persons and sages. By taking their advice, he can become the greatest executive power, and everyone in his kingdom will be happy, peaceful, and prosperous. The great kings were very responsible in taking the instructions given by great saintly personalities. The kings used to accept the instruction given by great sages like Parasar, Vyasadeva, Narad, Devla, and Asita. In other words, they would first accept quality of saintly person and then execute their monarchical power. Unfortunately, in the present age of Kali, the head of government does not follow the instruction given by saintly persons. Therefore, neither the citizens nor the men of government are very happy. Their duration of life is shortened, and almost everyone is wretched and bereft of bodily strength and spiritual power. If citizens want to be happy and prosperous in this democratic, they should not elect rascals and fools who have no respect for saintly persons. Hare Krishna. So, very powerful. So, I think devotees have asked me to also go through just the translation of next few verses. So, we will not read the verse or the purport, we will just go through the translation. Text 15. Those who live according to religious principle and who follow them by words, mind, body, and intelligence are elevated to the heavenly kingdom, which is devoid of all miseries. Being thus rid of material influence, they achieve unlimited happiness in this life. The sages continued, O great hero, for this reason you should not be cause of spoiling the spiritual life of the general populace. If their spiritual life is spoiled because of your activities, you will certainly fall down from your opulent and royal position. The saintly persons continued, when the king protects the citizen from the disturbance of mischievous ministers, as well as from thieves and rogues, he can, by virtue of such pious activities, accept taxes given by his subjects. The pious king can certainly enjoy himself in this world as well as in the life after death. Text 18. The king is supposed to be pious, whose state and cities the general populace strictly system of 8 social orders of Varna and Ashrama, and where all citizens engage in worshipping the personality of Godhead by their particular occupation. Text 19. O noble one, if the king sees that the supreme personality of Godhead, the original cause of the cosmic manifestation and super soul within everyone is worshipped, the Lord will be satisfied. 20. The supreme personality of Godhead is worshipped by great demigods who are controllers of universal affairs. When he is satisfied, nothing is impossible to achieve. For this reason, all the demigods presiding deities of different planets, as well as the inhabitants of their planets, take great pleasure in offering all kinds of paraphernalia for his 21. Dear King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with the predominating deities, is the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices in all planets. The Supreme God is the sum total of the three Vedas, the owner of everything, and the ultimate goal of all austerity. Therefore, your countrymen should engage in performing various sacrifices for your elevation. Indeed, you should always direct them towards the offering of sacrifices. 22. When all Brahmanas engage in performing sacrifices in your kingdom, all the demigods who are plenary extensions of the Lord will be very much satisfied by their activities and will give you all desired result. Therefore, O hero, sacrificial performances, if you stop them, you will diss the demigods. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, very fortunate and grateful to devotees giving the chance to associate with transcendental contemplation of Lord. And I think some of my seniors are also sitting here, from whom actually I have learnt. So I take their blessings so that we can speak something. So, so here we see that sages are advising King Vena how he should execute his religious duty, because actually they want to protect the deviation which Vena was following because of his contaminated mind and independent mentality. Yes, trying to misuse his power and influence which he was awarded. So Srila Prabhupada gives a very, very beautiful example when he tried to explain the four orders of the social order. He gives the example that the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras, they can be compared to various parts of the bodies. So the Brahmanas he compared to the head. And he says that all the functioning of the, so although the hands are very powerful, they can do so many things. Although the shoulder is very powerful, it can carry so much of burden. Although the feet is so powerful, it can walk several miles with great speed. But still, in order to make a perfect coordination among them, in order to direct them in a rightful direction, yes, the head is required. Though the head doesn't do anything. If externally we see, the most useless part is, it doesn't do anything only. It is just sitting in between, a very heavy, something like that. Yes, although the hands and legs, they seem to be more important. But Srila Prabhupada told, if we see internally, yes, the most important part of the whole body is brain. A little bit, one nerve of the brain also gets, little short circuited, the entire body will be useless. It will be good for nothing to work, and that's why it's required. And Srila Prabhupada says that the one of the reason of the degradation of society is when the coordination between the head and the body, or we can say the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas, becomes disconnected. Yes, at that time the degradation starts. Because there's a very strong tendency in this world that, as Srila Prabhupada says, to enjoy, to control, to have some proprietorship. Srila Prabhupada says that every the living entity has come in this world to do these three things: to enjoy the matter, to control, and to have some proprietorship. There's a great pleasure in doing these three things. Living entity is very, very thirsty and hungry in order to manipulate the matter. Yes, and somehow to become as Srila Prabhupada very technically calls, the Lord of all I survey. Wherever I go, I am the boss, I am the Don, I am the Lord. And there's a great pleasure in manipulating the inferior energy because the living entity is superior. So it has the power to control the inferior energy. And that's why, especially the Kshatriyas, they have lot of passion. Kshatriyas are represented by the mode of passion. Yes. So that's why Kshatriyas, and they are given lot of facility, they are given lot of respect, they are given lot of power, they are awarded lot of influence, lot of control. And that's why a very strong grounding is needed. Yes, just like as we make the building very, very tall, as tall you make it, the stronger the grounding is, as otherwise it will simply deviate. So similarly, the more the king, forget about the king, any person is given some power, is given some position, is given some leadership, is given some control, some influence, the more grounding he needs in terms of guidance, in terms of the blessings and direction of saintly people. Because the saintly people, they are very strongly grounded in the spiritual subject matter. They are very strongly grounded with their connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And thus they act as a compass, where everybody, all the other three order can take shelter. Even in the electricity, we have the plug. So in the plug also, we have three connection. So one of the connection is of grounding. So although the electricity is running, the other two are meant to pass the electricity. And they seem to be the two most important part of the plug. But if the third one, that is grounding one, is not there, at any time, that very heavy and powerful running electricity can have damaging effect. And that's why even in the plug we need that grounding, which stabilizes whenever there is anything, any deviation in the electricity, it is just put to just stabilize the effect. Yes, and that's why in the Vedic system we see how much the kings used to be respectful to the Brahmanas, to the saintly people. Even in the Ramayana, we see the beautiful example of Vishwamitra Muni visiting Dashrath. Yes. So as soon as Vishwamitra Muni visited Dashrath Maharaj, the kings used to, it's not that the king will order somebody, ki, oh servant, please go and receive him. The king himself used to come down from his throne. Yes, from his Raj Sinhasan. And himself, he will lower himself. He will become subservient. He will himself wash the lotus feet. So Dashrath Maharaj personally received Vishwamitra Muni. And it is said in Ramayana that Dashrath Muni was very eager to fulfill the desire of Vishwamitra Muni. He was very eager. Means he was asking him again and again, please tell Vishwamitra Muni, I know you have come for some purpose. Please reveal it at once. I want to just satisfy it. So Dashrath Maharaj was very eager that let Vishwamitra Muni speak some order. And let this king of the whole world be the subservient to that order. So the kings, they were very, very eager to fulfill the desires of the saintly people. And we see that Vishwamitra Muni asked something very, very thunderbolt, which was like a thunderbolt on the heart of the Dashrath Maharaj. He asked, okay, you are so eager to satisfy me, but just think it once. Whatever I say, will you follow it? Dashrath Maharaj, yes, please say. I am very eager. And then he says, give me Ram and Lakshman. And Dashrath Maharaj say, ki Ram and Lakshman are like my two eyes. How can I give to you? And then, but we know that Dashrath Maharaj, he was such an elevated king. He had such a faith on the orders of the saintly people. He consulted Vasishtha Muni and Vishwamitra Muni, and finally he gave his own sons, whom he loved more than his own very life. He gave them because he had so much of faith in the instructions given by the saintly people. So this used to be the respect of the kings towards the saintly people. Their whole life revolves around taking guidance from them and ruling the kingdom as guided by saintly people. And that's why king was also known as, was sometimes also addressed as the Ansha of Bhagwan. Yes, he's also means for the general people he was considered like a god only. Why? Because on behalf of Krishna, because Krishna owns this whole universe. Yes, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadi Radir Govinda Sarva Karan Karanam. So on behalf of Krishna, he is elected to rule, and that's why it requires it. It is a very, very heavy responsibility of the king. So there is a beautiful verse. I think, is it visible? Yeah. So this is from Canto 1, Chapter 10, verse number 3. So here Srila Prabhupada glorifies one such king, who exactly followed, what we are speaking. And who was that? Yudhishthira Maharaj. Such a perfect example of king. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport, in the purport of this verse, so vehemently he glorifies Yudhishthira Maharaj. So we'll just read the verse. Nisamya bhismoktam atha achyutoktam pravritya vijnana viduta vibhramaha shashaga gama indra ivajita shraya paridhyupantam anujanu vartita. So here the words are very important. Nisamya. So nisamya means listening. See, first Yudhishthira Maharaj, what he did? First he heard. So hearing is the first. So whether it is bhakti or whether it is outside the bhakti, the first process is what? Shravan, hearing. And then Bhishma Uktam, spoken by whom? By Bhishma. First he was enlightened by a sadhu. So for him, the Bhishma acted was like what? As a guru. And then Achyuta Uktam, what Krishna says. Hari Guru Vaishnav. You know? So he's a perfect shelter of Hari Guru. So he heard what Bhishma Uktam, what Bhishma said, then Achyuta Uktam, what Krishna said. And then by that what happened? Vijnana. This word is used, very nice. Vijnana. Srila Prabhupada translate it as perfect knowledge. You know? The Srila Prabhupada translation, word to word meaning translations are also very wonderful. You know? So we see that Prabhupada translation is perfect knowledge. He was enlightened by absolute knowledge, perfect knowledge. It was not some relative knowledge of this world. Generally today if somebody want to go for leadership, we give them some manipulative knowledge. You know? Like in HR, we know that human resource. You know? So first they give training, how to manipulate people, what to do, you know? And what. So these are all relative knowledge of this world, which is which can be applied at one place, at another place it cannot be applied. But this is which knowledge which he heard? Perfect. And that's why actually Vigyan, Vigyan can be used in, Vigyan is sometimes used for other knowledge of this world also. Sometime. But Srila Prabhupada is so intelligent to translate it as perfect knowledge, because what he heard was absolute knowledge. Yes. And then what happened by that knowledge? Viduta. Viduta means completely washed away. Yes. What was washed away? Vibhrama, all misgivings. Yes. So he was get rid of all misgivings of his bodily conception, of his controllership mentality, of his enjoying mentality. He was completely washed away from that. And thus, he was ready to sit on the throne. Yes. So, we will just read some part of the purport, which are so powerful. Yes. Okay. So, Maharaj Yudhishthira was not a typically unenlightened political leader of modern democracy. Maharaj Yudhishthira was instructed by Bhishma Deva and the infallible Lord, and therefore he had full knowledge of everything in perfection. The modern elected executive head of a state is just like a puppet because he has no kingly power. Even if he is enlightened like Maharaj Yudhishthira, he cannot do anything out of his own goodwill due to his constitutional position. Therefore, there are so many states over the earth quarreling because of ideological differences or other selfish motives. But a king like Maharaj Yudhishthira had no ideology of his own. Yes, so this is very, very powerful. He had no ideology of his own. It's not that he is coming with his own manufactured idea of how I will rule the world. He had not his. So this is very powerful statement. He had no ideology of his own. Generally, everybody want to become a kingmaker. Kingmaker we know, कि मेरे वजह से हुआ. मैं अब प्लान बनाता हूँ, है ना? Now hear me, है ना? See, do it like this. So there is a great interest in a living entity. There is a great taste in a living entity to become the master of his own. By my own power I have reached here. By my own power I will rule the world. The whole credit will come to whom? Me. So there is a special interest. He had but to follow the instruction of the infallible Lord and the Lord's representative. Yes. And the authorized agent Bhishma Deva. It is instructed in the Shastra that one should follow the great authority and the infallible Lord without any personal motive and manufacture ideology. Therefore, it was possible for Maharaj Yudhishthira to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles were, this is very important, because the principles were infallible and universally applicable to everyone. See, when we have our own idea in this world, we can satisfy one person, but by that another person will be dissatisfied. If we dig out the soil from one place and fill it at other place, though you fill it at other place, but one place has become vacant. So, Srila Prabhupada says that no plan, no idea by any living entity's mind, any idea resulting from the concocted mind of a living entity can never be supremely well-being, can never bring supreme welfare in this world. Yes, because it will have some defect. Because we are having 4 defects, so our ideas will also have 4 defects. If the source is having 4 defects, how can the byproduct be absolute? Yes. So because it is coming from a mind which is having 4 defects, so even its implementation and after implementation, its result will also be tainted and contaminated by 4 defects. But Maharaj Yudhishthir, was his idea his own? Although Maharaj Yudhishthir is a pure devotee, even if he has his own idea, it will be very wonderful. But was the idea belong to Maharaj Yudhishthir? No. It belongs to whom? And that's why Srila Prabhupada's words are so powerful. Srila Prabhupada in play as a prefix to Krishna, he's always adding infallible. Why? Because the person who never falls down. So how can his ideas will ever fall down? So we can see the choice of words of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was just a mastermind. He was a spiritual genius in terms of everything what he did in ISKCON and even his literatures. He's so intelligent to drive the knowledge in our heart. So he is using the word infallible and universally accepted to everyone. The conception of one world of state can only be fulfilled if we can follow the infallible authority. An imperfect human being cannot create entity. So this is very powerful. An imperfect living entity can never create an ideology acceptable to everyone. Why? Because we have 4 defects. How can our ideas be free from 4 defects? It will have some loophole. And that's why sometimes our government makes some rule. We see that somewhere other a loophole comes. And then people find that this idea theek nahi tha. Somewhere or other loophole come. It can be very powerful for general populace. But there will be certain section of society where the ideas will have a loophole. And it will have a failing effect. Yes. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. If the person is a fool, the government is a fool paradise. That is the law of nature. There are so many stories of imperfect kings, including today's section which we are reading, Vena. Yes, there are so many examples of imperfect king or executive head. Therefore, the executive head must be trained person like Maharaj Yudhishthir, and he must have the full autocratic power to rule over the world. The conception of a world state can take shape only under the regime of a perfect king like Maharaj Yudhishthir. The world was happy in those days because there were kings like Maharaj Yudhishthir to rule over the world. Very powerful purport. I think this purport is sufficient to give a commentary on today's verse. Even my class is not needed. Srila Prabhupada has absolutely summarized everything which was needed to be spoken in regard to this verse which we are discussing today. Such a master class purport by Srila Prabhupada. So we see that even Dhruv Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj was such a pure devotee, such a perfect king. But even Dhruv Maharaj needed the guidance of saintly people during the time of crisis. And what was the crisis in his consciousness? When he was fighting with yakshas. Yes. So actually Dhruv Maharaj, he wanted to take the revenge for the death of his brother. And he just wanted to wipe out the entire race of yakshas. And he was just killing in his full kshatriya, in his full kshatriya attitude. He was just killing everybody without seeing. And then saintly people came and they instructed him. And Dhruv Maharaj was also humble enough to accept their instruction as his life and soul. And thus he came back to his original consciousness. Yes. So we see that. Yeah. So here Srila Prabhupada in the same purpose, same chapter, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he is giving the opposite example. Okay. So we will read some part of it, the purport of opposite one. Okay. Okay. Yes. But at the time, due to the influence of ignorance and mode of material nature, tamoguna, the lowest of the material modes, kings and administrators come to power without knowledge and responsibility. This is very powerful. Without knowledge and without responsibility. Their goal is what? Just to come to the power. That's all. The goal and whole in the consciousness, what is going on? Let me somehow come to the power. Ek baar bas kursi mil jaye. The hot chair. Yes. Let that hot chair be mine. है ना, once I come. And knowledge, responsibility, that is out of the picture. Yes. And even the responsibility will come when they come to know that my chair is going to be lost if I don't do this. Then they say कि अरे यार कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा, otherwise next election में हार जाएंगे. We will, है ना, lose the next election, so let me do something at least. Yes. And what to do? Do something which will be best for my benefit. Okay, it will benefit the people, but by that benefit, let me also get benefited. Yes. So that's the whole central point which revolves around. Due to the influence, okay, for the sake of their own personal interest, the result is that the whole atmosphere becomes surcharged with anarchy and vicious elements. Nepotism, bribery, cheating, aggression, and therefore famine, epidemic, war, and similar other disturbing features become prominent in human society. And the devotees of the Lord or the faithful are persecuted by all means. All these symptoms indicate the time of an incarnation of the Lord. Okay, so that's a different one. Okay, so we see that in this world, as soon as forget about any kingly, becoming a king is a very far-fetched idea. Anybody sitting here may not become like that. But each one of us are having some responsibility. Each one of us act as some, like a small leader. Yes, each one of us are awarded sometimes some kind of influence. Yes, every family person is also a kind of leader within his own house. Yes, so as soon as we are given any power, any influence, yes, it becomes our great responsibility to take the complete guidance, the complete shelter of the instructions of the saintly people. Otherwise, we will land up in misusing our position, misusing the power which was awarded to us. Yes. So Srila Prabhupada explains that the mode of passion or this influence is just like a flowing river, water. So the river has lot of speed. The river has lot of voluminous water flowing, and it is very useful. Yes. But to channelize that water properly, we need the two banks. So the two banks of the river, it channelizes the speed and the volume of the water in such a way so that it flows in a right direction. Imagine if there are if the two banks are missing. So the speed and the volume of the water, what it will do? It will simply bring the flood and cause the destruction. So the two banks of the river, they are compared to the Hari Guru and Vaishnav, the shelter and the instruction of the Hari Guru and Vaishnav. Yes. So I want you to read one more verse. So this is from the Kunti Maharani prayers. Yes. So Kunti Maharani says that Janm Aishwarya Shruta Shrivir Eda Mada Madapuman. As soon as, forget about the kingly power, as soon as a living entity has given a little opulence in his life, he is given little bit Janma, little Aishwarya, little Shruta, little Shrivi, immediately what is the effect? She is saying Mada. This word is very important. Mada. And let us see what Srila Prabhupada translates Mada as. Intoxication. Yes. As soon as a person gets little bit beauty, little bit knowledge, little bit power, little bit influence, the first effect is what? Mada. His mind starts becoming like a whirlpool. He starts imagining, oh, now I will enjoy. Now so many people are under me. I can do whatever I want. Yes. So the living entity becomes out of control. So the living entity is so tiny, and the living entity is so much anu, yes, that a little bit influence can just swipe him away a long distance. Yes, so that's the power of material influence. And then what happens by that? Navar hati abhidhatum vai tvam akinchana gocharam. He can never be able to approach you. Srila Prabhupada in the purports write that he cannot feelingly chant the, yes, this is very powerful. Incapable of uttering the holy name of Lord by addressing him feelingly, O Govinda, O Krishna. Such a person cannot take shelter, as seen in this section of King Vena. As soon as Vena became a king, as soon as little power came to him, as soon as the Vena, he claps, 10 people will come from here, He claps here, 10 people will come from here. So much of power, so much of influence. So immediately the head becomes reeling. Immediately the head becomes heavy. Yes? And person becomes fully lost. He loses all control of himself. He forgets who am I, what am I. He completely gets into the inner region of the bodily conception of life. And is fully misguided. He misleads others also. Yes? So that's the power of influence. So whenever we have the more opulences we have, in terms of beauty, in terms of intelligence, in terms of money, so to handle these things, yes, we need lot of spiritual strength. We need a very heavy backing of the guidance of our superiors, saintly people, and instructions of the Shastras in order to hold them, in order to properly execute it. And that's why we are coming to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes, in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Lord Chaitanya, he went to the South Indian yatra. So from Puri he started. Yes, so one of the first places with which Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami described where Lord Chaitanya came was Kurma Kshetra. Yes, in the Kurma Kshetra, it is said that he met one great Brahman. His name was Vasudev, and he was having leprosy, Kushtrog in Hindi we call it. His whole body was filled with all kinds of wounds and all kinds of effects of leprosy. Yes, and he was so humble. He was such a gentle sage that if the insects were crawling on his wounds, if an insect by mistake fall down, he will lift them and put it back in his wound, because he thinks that my body is good for nothing. I am not able to do, nobody want to come near me. I am not able to go to a temple because of this. At least let this body be of some use to insects. Let this body be of some Mahaprasadam for the insects. And yes, his body was actually a Mahaprasad, because he was always chanting the holy names. By chanting the holy names, the whole body became Mahaprasad. And like that he thought. And then as soon as he came to know that a very dancing sage, or a dancing sannyasi who is just uttering the holy names, who is making everyone dance, has come, who has very long arms, who has a very long lotus petal-like eyes. He is such a tall, he has come to our village, and he is making everyone chant and dance. So even Vasudev leper, he also got a desire, let me also go and take benefit of the association. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after satisfying Kurma Brahman, after instructing Kurma Brahman, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left the place. And when Vasudev leper reached to Kurma Brahman's house, he started lamenting, oh, what a misfortune. What can be more misfortunate than this, that I missed the benefit of associating with such a saintly person. Rather, who is Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. I missed this position. But Lord Chaitanya, who had walked out of Kurma Kshetra, he is there as a Paramatma in everyone's heart. Sarvasya chaham hridayam nivisto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. He came to know that one great devotee I have not satisfied. So immediately, as Vasudev leper was crying, he was lamenting, suddenly from behind somewhere Lord Chaitanya appeared. And he immediately embraced Vasudev leper. Immediately. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya embraced, immediately what happened? All his wounds became cured. He became a very handsome, a very effulgent Brahman. All his diseases were fully cured. And then Vasudev leper, he offered a beautiful prayer to Lord Chaitanya, remembering the 10th canto, the meeting of Sudama Brahman and Krishna. When Krishna embraced Sudama Brahman felt very embarrassed. He felt very ashamed. Who am I? That Supreme Personality of Godhead is embracing me. And then just after Vasudeva leper was cured, do you know what was the first thought which came to his mind? This is very interesting, and this is what is regarding what we are discussing. The topic was, now I am becoming beautiful. Now I have become handsome. Now pride will come. Now opulence has come. Before that I was a kinchana. Before that I was a kinchan. I had nothing to be proud of. Nobody wanted to come to me. This stinking Brahman, smelling, pouring out blood and pus from his body. Who will go near him? But now I have become so handsome, so young. Now even I may attract the opposite sex. Who knows? So the first thing which came to his mind was, one minute. Maybe I just wanted to read the verse. Yes. Okay. प्रभुरा कृपा देखी तारा विस्मय हैला मना श्लोका पड़ी पाए धरी करय स्तवना. Okay, he started offering, and so this is the exact prayer which he offered to Lord Chaitanya. He said, "Who am I, a sinful poor friend of a Brahman, and who is Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, who is in 6 opulences? बहु स्तुति करी कहे सुना दया मय, जीवे यही गुना नाही तो माते यही है, मोरे देखी मोरा गंधे पलाया पामरा, हे ना मोरे स्पर्श तुमी स्वतंत्र ईश्वरा." You are the independent supreme personality of Godhead, and that's why you have touched me. किंतु आछिला न भाला अधम हइया, एबे अहंकार मोरा जन्मी बे आसिया. Yes, so this is the first thing says. Ki kintu, but Lord Chaitanya, there is one thing, everything is good, but one thing is troubling me. And what is that? कि एबे अहंकार मोरा जन्मी बे आसिया. अब मेरे को क्या हो जाएगा? अहंकार हो जाएगा. So this is the only fear of a devotee. Devotee is fearless, because he has taken shelter of Abhay Charan. Abhay Charanar, and that's why Srila Prabhupada's name is Abhay Charanar Vinda. By taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, a devotee becomes fully fearless. But a devotee has only one fear of material desire. And that's why when Narsimdev came in front of Prahlad Maharaj, this Prahlad Maharaj, Narsimdev is saying, ask something. Prahlad Maharaj is so satisfied. He is saying, your katha is everything. You have given holy name. Isn't that sufficient? Is there anything else required in this world to survive happily? But ask. Then Prahlad Maharaj says, destroy all the material desire in my heart. So that's the only fear of a devotee. And the instruction which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives is also very, very powerful. How to hold the power. So this was a small opulence which was given to Vasudeva leper. That is what? Little bit of beauty, little bit of health. Yes. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing how to hold any opulence in this world, how to hold any power in this world. Prabhu kahe kabu tomar nahabhe abhiman nirantara kaha tumi Krishna Krishna nam. Yes, always chant the holy names, because holy names are non-different from Krishna. That's the supreme, like we talked about grounding, So the holy name is the perfect zero potential factor, which perfectly keeps the living entity back to his constitutional position. As long as the living entity is connected to the holy name strongly, he will always be situated in his constitutional position of the das, anudas. He will, no power, no influence in this world can ever excite him out of his constitutional position. And then there was a second instruction which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. Krishna upadesi kara jivera nistara achirate Krishna toma karibe na angikara. And preach. We have influence. Suppose somebody can speak very nicely. So rather than becoming proud in so many places by showing the knowledge, one can speak Srimad Bhagvatam to everybody. Somebody has lot of money, rather than showing, he can build lot of temples. So this is the second instruction. Ki first chant the holy name incessantly, not only 16 rounds, but beyond 16 rounds. And the second thing is that do prachar. Preach. If you do these two things, ahankar will never touch you. You will never become proud of your beauty or whatever influence you have. So this is the second instruction he gave. So that's why even Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when there was a great need of preaching, when the whole Gaudiya Vaishnavism was just falling apart, so people were inspiring Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Why don't you preach? Why don't you establish? You are so powerful. The first thing Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did was to just go to Mayapur, and just become like a Babaji, and incessantly chant. He was just chanting. He chanted practically Shat Koti Naam. Shat Koti Naam means 100 crore names he chanted continuously. 192 every day he is chanting. Months are getting over, years have got over. And then one fine day, somebody came and told ki now it's time to preach. And he told ki tomorrow I will come. And tomorrow everybody saw Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur with full shaven, beard shaven, everything shaven, full sannyasi dress, with danda, ready to preach. So that's the preparation which he did. Yes. So as soon as we have project, we have preaching, we have this, we have that, the first thing comes is that we become too busy into, okay, let me check the mobile, where to go, what are the resources, whom to call, manpower, this power, that power. As soon as you want to do something, as soon as we want to use our power, the first thing is to just sit down and just in the beat, and just incessantly take shelter of Lord Krishna lotus feet. And this is what it is said that Srila Prabhupada, before boarding the Jalduta, just before boarding the Jalduta, he went to the place in Santipur, to Advaita Acharya's house. And that was the place where Advaita Acharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everybody will come and make preaching plans. Yes. So we went, and the Pujari of Advaita Acharya temple, that Shantipur, he later told to devotees that Srila Prabhupada used to come here, just sit here whole day, and just used to chant. And sometimes while chanting, he used to cry also. So even before boarding the Jalduta, Srila Prabhupada went to that place, and then he went to boarded the Jalduta ship. Yes. So because in the process of our preaching, sometimes we get lot of resources to use. Sometimes we have people in our hand. Because in order to ourselves be fixed in the das anudas, and in order to preach to others, the people who are coming to us, people who are putting faith in us in preaching, in order to make them also das anudas, yes, we need lot of spiritual strength. Otherwise, there is a strong tendency in the living entity to misuse the resources and the manpower. Yes. Because there is a lot of pleasure. So much of control is in my hand. So many people are now following me. I have so much of influence. So more our resources increases, the more our manpower increases, the more our responsibility increases, the more we need the shelter of holy name and instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So this is the last section which I am going to read, is from Lord Brahma. When Lord Brahma did the tapasya in the beginning of, so we can imagine who can be better king than Lord Brahma. So king means he can be king of a state, somebody can be king of this planet, somebody can be king of an entire dweep, but Lord Brahma is the king of the whole universe. Whole universe is in the hand of Brahmaji. And when Krishna appeared in front of Brahmaji, and when Lord Brahma was offering his prayers, so what was I will, because we have very less time, I will just read the translation. Oh my Lord, the unborn, you have shaken hands with me. So Krishna shook hand with him because partnership, On my behalf, you create the universe. है ना? It was a partnership. है ना? Shaking hand just as a friend. है ना? Okay. I shall be engaged in the creation of different types of entity, and I shall be occupied in your service. I shall have no perturbation, but I pray that all this may not give rise to pride, as if I were the supreme. You are giving me lot of power. है ना? Rather, you are giving them a maximum power. Among all the living entities, who is having the maximum power in this whole universe? Lord Brahma. Nobody can have more power than him. है ना? So now he's saying so much of power is coming. But may I not get perturbed in my mind. Let me always be grounded in that, है ना, thinking that I am just a instrument. I think in above prayer also he says, let me be thus act instrumentally to generate living entity. He's saying, let me act was instrumentally. Not that, oh, now the power is given, the whole universe is under my control. है ना? Let me do whatever I want. है ना? Like that. So let me act what? Instrumentally. Let me just be an instrument. That's all. है ना? Without being conditioned. Yes, this is another very, है ना? Without being conditioned by such activities. Yes. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is very merciful that he has given us this beautiful morning program of chanting the holy name, of hearing Bhagavatam, before we can embark on whether our occupational duty or within the spiritual society, our spiritual services, before we can embark to do something, to move our hands and legs, to manipulate, whatever we, so Srila Prabhupada has given us this beautiful package of morning program. So more we seriously take, more we ground ourselves in the incessant chanting of the holy names, incessant hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, yes, the more our consciousness will be untouched when we do anything in this world. Yes. So I think we have already reached time. So with this, we'd like to end. So I think because some devotee were missing, so that's why Prabhuji asked me to speak, but I had no capacity to speak. So whatever came out of my means limited mind, I just spoke it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय।